everybody.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
I am Janae Strother.
I'm Sean Spencer.
Back.
We are back.
We are back, ladies and gentlemen.
I gotta go out and hold up.
Come on. The lion. Here. The lion. New man on the so fine. Kirk Cousins.
All right. I am Janae Strother.
I'm Sean Spencer.
And this is Let's Talk Football.
Let's talk football, the Roundtable. Oh, hey, that's a work riders roll. Let's talk football, the Roundtable. Oh, the draft is coming up. Let's go. What's going on, ladies boys? Sean Spencer, one half of that dynamic duo that's Let's Talk Football, and one fourth of the fearsome foursome that is the Round Table. Yeah, ready? We are back, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this month we have been on Thursdays because we are getting ready for the draft event in Chicago.
Yeah.
Get
excited, folks. Get excited.
Yeah. We will be live from Chicago for a live draft event where we will document all the picks. But today, it's the Roundtable, baby. And I'm not here by myself. Oh, no. I got Mr. Nick. I want the smoke. Rosario. I got the lovely Delilah Crespo. And Mr. Spat Nathan Stell. What up, baby? How y'all doing today?
Fantastic.
It's Thursday.
Fantastic.
Yep.
That's
Right.
right, it's Thursday. At least tomorrow's Friday, followed by the weekend. So it's fantastic.
I can dig it. So definitely have to start off the show. You saw how we started it. Got to pay tribute to the late, great Earl Simmons, a.k.a. DMX. Man, passed away of complications after having a heart attack. It's hard. It's painful. It stinks to hear, but, prayers to his family, prayers to all his fans. Man. Delilah, I'm gonna come to you. What memories you got of the X, man? Of Mr. X?
Okay, so here, all right, so I'm dating myself because when that album came out, I was in high school, and I don't. So, when that album came out, okay, so when Unleashed and Unreleased came out, obviously we all remember the Rough Riders anthem. We can't, that was a banger. I would it was just that whole album was the soundtrack of that summer, right? Because it was just hit after hit, and every year he would come out with so what it was is that DMX kind of spoke to us a lot of Chicago kids, even though we were always split in the middle because it was East versus West, right? So we kind of always split down the middle, but we always kind of leaned close to the East Coast, even though we showed love to Tupac, even though he's not even from the West Coast, he's from Maryland. People forget that.
Right,
but
from the East.
He's starting the East.
Coasters.
Yes, he got signed in the West. Okay.
That East side, what they know about it? That East.
Right. I always have to remind people, right? He was from Baltimore, so y'all get it right. Look at Nate. He was. So anyway, going back to DMX. But look, it was just his rap, it actually spoke to a lot of kids, because he really did tell stories, and and that's the rap I grew up with. No hate on the new rap, but this is what I grew up with, right? My rappers told stories, actually, you felt stuff. And DMX came out with that, that grunt, and it was just and it went hard. It made you it was, first of all, that whole CD was a good workout album. Y'all ever put that that it just put you in that attack mode, you were ready, you wanted to fight people. You know what I'm saying? It was just
got you hyped.
It got you hyped. It really did make you you know how metalheads want to headbang and stuff, right? Break stuff. That's what the DMX was, but rap. You just want it to be break stuff and just, you know what I'm saying? But like in a like, I don't know how to explain it, but like it was in a positive way. Like it just let you like release like this angst, and you're like, oh, and that guys, you guys remember that video? Like all the guys on the motorcycles and everybody was like, you know, it's like, yeah. And then the other thing that I will forever respect DMX, and now don't get me wrong, like I like twerking and stuff, but like he never wrote songs that degraded women, by the way.
Yeah.
Never. Like most of it was just like, you know, he was just telling stories about his life, his trauma. You actually learn about his trauma through his music. Like people actually sat down and actually read like his lyric notes. You know how like I'm dating myself again. So back in the day.
Hey, yes.
Hey, you're not dating anything. I'm much older than you are, okay? Relax with
the
you
and me.
Calm down.
You and me, Delilah. We're the same age. Let's get it.
Calm down with that old stuff, all right?
All right, but on albums it was hard. You couldn't put all the lyrics on, but the CDs did. So you used to open the CDs, and they used to have like all the lyrics. They used to be able to study it and read them. And when you would read DMX's albums, like he really was telling you about his life. Like there was no, you know. And so when he was struggling, like I really felt for him. Like I never made fun of the fact that he would have relapses. Who laughs at people with drug problems? Like I still don't understand that. So like, you know, I was always fighting for him to get better. Like actually it's sad because before he died, they were showing him out. He was drinking water. Like he looked healthy. I was excited. I was like, oh, he's out in public. Like, you know, and I was like,
he did that verses with Snoop Dogg.
Yes. You know, so like, you know, so he was getting out there. So when he died, like that really like hit me, you know, I was like, oh my God, like, yeah. So, but
it hit hard.
Rest in peace. Like,
it's upsetting. And I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head, Delilah. I've always been a lyricist. I've always been somebody that absolutely loves how the words are moved and how people can tell the story. You know, one of my favorite artists is Andre 3000. I think he's one of the greatest storytellers in the game ever. You know what I mean? Just with the way that he carries it and the way that he kind of just twists the words around. And DMX was also one of those. And the thing that I loved about him so much is that he was so rugged and you know, and I'm this, you know, nice put together, articulate speaking, you know what I mean, in Herndon, Virginia. And I got that. It made me feel like, let's get it, you know, come on. You know what I mean? I mean, it was one of those things. And it was just a connection, man. You felt like you were connected to what he was saying. You felt like you was a rough rider, you know what I'm saying? And just the many different things that came from Drag On, Eve, Swiss Beats.
He was a good actor too, by the way.
Right. He was definitely multi-talented. But I mean, Nate, man, what memories you got, man?
You know, I'm the youngest of all y'all, so I mean, I grew up on DMX. I've always said I felt as, you know, after Pac and Biggie died, DMX, Jay-Z, Ja Rule, Nas.
Yeah, I don't know about Ja Rule, but
no, but I mean,
Ja Rule out of that list.
Let me go.
No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
You're good.
You know, they picked up where those two left off, and DMX. You know, we always have a little DMX in us.
Yeah.
So, I mean, my all-time favorite is "Slippin'."
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah,
that's one of my all-time favorite songs from DMX. It's just sad, you know. Again, it's just a legend we lost. You know, I also want to give a shout out to Black Rob. You know, he was in the hospital, and you know, found he's not doing too well, and it's like, damn, we can't lose two legends in 1 week.
Hey, it's too much.
It's just, you know, it's just, you know, tomorrow's never promised. You know, that's why we gotta, you know, cherish each day. You know, love, you know, hug your loved ones and tell them how much you love them, and you know, it's just sad. You know,
it is
just DMX. You know, in my opinion, is a top 10 rapper. He's in my top 10. I think he should be. I think he should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
He was a poet.
I just feel like no matter who you are, doesn't matter you're black, white, does not matter. Everybody knows the Rough Rider anthem.
Yeah.
I'm slipping. I don't care. You look at Woodstock '99. I had that was all white, and it's like
they were all in it, right?
And they loved it. Yo,
they
but
loved
that,
crazy.
but that speaks to him though. That
You're
speaks
right,
to him that he crossed genres. He crossed it.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't, it wasn't even though,
I
even with
agree
how
with you,
rugged
though,
he
Nate.
was, you know what I mean? Like he crossed genres. Like Nick, he's a legend. Like I can't go anywhere else but say that he's a legend.
Well, yeah, and here's the thing, and I don't want people to think that I have great knowledge of the DMX catalog, because I don't. Obviously, I know who he is. I am familiar with some of his music, but being an older guy, rap wasn't always my thing. And so when DMX, came out, he said late '90s, I was already into my middle 20s thinking about other stuff. So I wasn't, I didn't have Rough Rider Anthem playing on my stereo, but
I
it was
did.
okay. But I knew it.
You
and
wouldn't
I, yeah.
I did.
But again, you grow as but again, I always keep abreast of what's going on in music, and I know who DMX is, and I knew, again, I saw his movies. I knew who the man was, and my favorite thing that, that DMX did, and again, some people be like, really, that's what you remember him for? But if you heard him do his rendition of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, that is one of the greatest things ever recorded in life.
Yes.
So to me, I'm like, right there, that's total points for me, because that is one of the funniest things. Because he does it so seriously, just so matter of factly. And his voice, and that gruff voice, he's just like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Shiny nose, and he goes.
That is a Christmas.
That's one of the greatest.
Right,
I play that every Christmas. Trust me, that gets played every Christmas in my house. But yeah, I mean, but it's true, because obviously DMX spoke to a lot. A lot of people. Like when you hear the testimonies and people who read anything online, read an article about any music critic who talked about when DMX died. Go through all the pages on the internet, and everybody had nothing but good things to say about him, and how he inspired them, or how he influenced them, and how he, this and this and that. So I mean, you can't not but respect someone like that, someone who obviously touched a lot of people by his lyrics, by what he spoke about. Like you said, he wrote about his life, he wrote about the things that happened to him, he wrote about his struggles and all that stuff. So yeah, the guy obviously is a legend to a lot of people, and you never want to, diminish that at all. Like that's something that, and that's the way it should be. Like everybody has, their favorites and the people that they, look up to or that they respect. And I think, when someone like that dies, who was that important to you or that spoke to you like that, that's, even though you don't know them personally, that is a loss to you. Like when Prince died, that affected me. You know what I'm saying? Like Prince was the first artist I really gravitated towards as a kid. Little Red Corvette and all that. It's 1982. I'm a little 9-year-old chubby boy singing about Little Red Corvette. The first cassette I ever bought with my own money was the Purple soundtrack. Like I've seen Purple Rain 50 times.
I love that. I love that.
Prince was always my guy. And when Prince died, I was sad that day. As a matter of fact, I watched Purple Rain that night twice.
I know.
Like I just sat there listening to Prince music all day, and so it was. It does affect you when someone like that dies.
It does. And I agree with you, Nate, that he kind of took over that kind of lyrical way, right? Because Biggie and Tupac could tell stories, So I agree with that. And yes, his rendition of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer is a classic.
Oh yeah,
it is.
And
every
Christmas, people need to bump that, because I agree 100%. That is a legit Christmas song.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we gotta shout you out, man. We gotta send our prayers to your family. Send our prayers, all your loved ones, everybody. Hey, we've all been bumping your music, and what other way to pay homage to you than to start just blasting your music and keep playing it, man. You're with us. You're in our hearts, man. We know you're looking down on us, man. So, shout out to X. Also, as we're talking about remembrance, Jackie Robinson Day and Major League Baseball. So I absolutely love that, and I just, that's beautiful. You know what I mean? You hear about the deaths, but then you have these stories. We already know the great things that he did for Major League Baseball, the great strides that he made in the midst of all the nonsense that he had to go through with racism and how blatant and open it was. So I love that. So shout out to him. I got to shout out. We got many people watching us. Catherine Hughes, shout out to you. Chris Bass is on here. Anthony Handy. We got people chatting us up, saying what's going on. So
hello,
what's
everyone.
going on?
Everyone.
So glad you're able to join us on this evening. Right. And so basically, if you don't know, like I said before, in 2 weeks, April 29th, it is the NFL draft. 2 weeks away, ladies and gentlemen. So we are going to focus today on the draft, on some interesting questions about past drafts leading up till next week when Nick Rosario will do his second official mock draft.
Second and final, I guess. Right. Second and final.
Right. Leading up to draft day in 2 weeks. So you already know we're going to bring him the smoke and see what he's got coming and going for next week. But before we get into draft talk today, we have to go to one of my favorite parts of the show, Diversity with Delilah.
There it is.
You have Jesse Sapolo today. So what's up, Delilah?
All right. Yeah. So I wanted to kind of recognize Jesse Sapolo. He was actually born in Samoa, raised in Hawaii. His first name is Manasseh, but as often happens, sometimes people, when they have ethnic names, right, they kind of take one, so it's easier to pronounce. But since he's known around the league as Jesse Sapolo, I will stick with that. But his first name is Manasseh. So basically, he was one of the most celebrated Samoan NFL players. Like, he predates, like most people, right? Think of Tomasu from Pittsburgh, right? Things, and it's hard not, right? Because he deserves the credit he gets too. But really, when we think about it, it really was Jesse who kind of got the whole kind of Pacific Islander Polynesian nation kind of started. So he's one of the most celebrated Samoan NFL football players. He was the rock for the San Francisco 49ers offensive line during the 80s and 90s dynasty, right? That's when the Niners were it, right? Yeah. Even I had Niners stuff in the 90s, and I wasn't even their biggest fan, but I had Niners stuff,
When you beat a team 55-10 in the Super Bowl, that's pretty good.
Right.
So, and he was a big dude. He was, 6'4", 280 pounds. Yeah, he was selected by the San Francisco 49ers in the 11th round. So he wasn't even and I like when that happens, when guys were picked lower actually become something, right? They go out there and they actually show that they can actually play. So he went in the 11th of the 1983 NFL draft. He signed with the 49ers that same year as their center guard, and basically that's where he spent his career. He never went anywhere else. As I was talking with Sean beforehand, you don't really see that as much. There are career NFL players, but now you kind of see they kind of move around, which, it happens.
Free agency killed everything.
Yeah. So.
Oh yeah.
But yeah. So he is one of 6 49ers to own 4 Super Bowl championship rings, because he was part of the 1984, 1988, 1989, and 1994 Super Bowl wins.
Right.
So he was part of those. He is the only one of those, though, of those 6 players to earn a ring in the 94 team and the 81 team. So basically, he's only one of those 6 players that got one in the 80s and one in the 90s. Because he spent his career with them. So he earned a few Pro Bowl honors in 93 and 94. He retired in 97. He lives in California now. He has not been inducted into the Football Hall of Fame, which people wonder about that. Yep, people are wondering why he hasn't been. Because so what did he do? So Palu was one of the Polynesian players that created the Polynesian Pro Football Hall of Fame, because he wanted Polynesian NFL players to be recognized, right? So basically he helped establish that, and he's in that Hall of Fame. Yeah, he's also in the Hawaii University because that's where he went to college. So he's in their football Hall of Fame, but he's not in the Professional Football Hall of Fame, which I'm actually surprised about, especially since he has 4 championship wins. Oh, I don't know. I know we always argue about like these championships matter more than anything else. We go back and forth. However, he does have 4. So like what else does he need?
And he was a cornerstone of that team too. So that's
right. Yeah. So so
other things to look at, but yeah.
But again, like he spent his time with the University of Hawaii. He is a 3-time All WAC selection. He was MVP of the 1982 team, and so like basically, he kind of was really the as an offensive lineman. I don't think the offensive lineman. No, I know it doesn't, but he does have 4. And he was an integral part of the 49ers team. So I feel like he does deserve recognition for that, right? Because he spent 14 years with them, right? And I don't know, I feel like O linemen don't get as much love as they should, even though like if you're that good, your whole job is to protect the quarterback, right? If you're a center.
I think it might be it's difficult because it's 5 of them doing the job.
Yeah, how do they get recognized? I think we talked about this before, right, Nick? How like sometimes like we don't know what the qualifications are, kind of in that because it's kind of it becomes a little easier, obviously, with wide receivers, right, with running backs, right, with quarterbacks, things like that, like to look at their stats. But maybe it is different. But in either case, I feel like Jesse, who spent like, his whole career with them and really was one of the cornerstones of the dominant that was the 49ers teams of the late 80s and early 90s. I don't know, at least he should been, because he at least should have been mentioned, right? At least his name could have came up, even if he hasn't been selected. So, but anyways, I guess better luck next year yet, Jesse. But kudos,
we'll start the campaign. Jesse Sapolo for the Hall of Fame.
Starting here on the Roundtable. Jesse Sapolo, Hall of Famer by 2030. We need you in there, buddy.
You said it came in what 83 and played till 97. Well, it's like 15 years in the league. You never know. We have to check his stats.
I mean, come on now.
See if he made some Pro Bowls in between there. He probably did. So
he did
look at that stuff too. Other stuff.
He did. He made like 3 it's not fair that field goal kickers get into the Hall of Fame. Fair or not fair? I'm not sure. Wait, do they not get it?
No, they. Oh, do they?
Do they not get in there?
He said it's not fair that field kickers get into the Hall of Fame. Fair or not? Oh, he's asking. But that's a separate debate because what is the criteria for a kicker to get into the Hall of Fame? Yeah,
right. It's like situational. Somebody like a Morton Anderson, yes, but somebody like a George
guy who has a 20-year career as a kicker.
Or Sebastian Janikowski.
His percentage was like 90%. Yeah, but see, Janikowski, was he really? I mean, yes, because of the name and because of the flash and all of that. But again, you want to look at career stats. Like, what was his career field goal percentage? What was it? Because did he win? Were his kicks in big games? Did he win big games with these kicks? Was it? There's always stuff that you can argue against or for. Like we were just talking about this about number 1 wide receivers. You can argue for and against what makes a number 1 wide receiver. Same thing with a kicker going into the Hall of Fame.
Right.
Like what makes a Hall of Fame kicker? Because your job, let's be honest, your job going in is to kick the damn ball through the uprights. That's why you're drafted. That's your job. So depending on how good you do your job is how you get rewarded. All I'm saying is, what is the criteria for a kicker to be a Hall of Fame kicker?
They need to have a separate Hall of Fame for kickers because all they do in practice is kick balls and stand around. So
I mean, let's be honest, right? Like people pick on kickers all the time with this kind of stuff because it's like, you don't play every down. You're not, you're called upon in pressure situations, yes. So you have to have the mind and the body for it, obviously, because those are pressure situations. Right. But the fact is, you're a kicker. Nobody respects the kicker until he misses one. Until he double doinks or you know what I'm saying? Though, like
the specialty players, it's more difficult.
It is different. It's harder. Absolutely. You could have the guy like punters, like people. There are punters though who have made differences in games, who have buried guys in corners. Who have made punts that have.
But only one is really in there. It's Ray Guy.
But I'm saying though, that's my point. But like, you have to look at everything, and that's the thing with kickers, punters, and things like that. You can keep dropping your jaw all you want, Nate. I'm just making.
We're going down a rabbit hole. We're going down a rabbit hole.
Nate's just going to sit there looking like that for the next hour.
And we're not going to sit here and debate kickers.
No. Right. We're not.
I'm not saying anything.
They don't deserve that much attention. Okay.
No, you're good.
It's a roundtable,
no, I know. But I was just agreeing with Ablo that championships don't equal Hall of Fame. I just think that that guys like Jesse Sapalu and things like that, they should be in there. That's all I was saying.
I'm not saying a word.
Why not, Nate? Don't hold back now.
Yo, all right, man. We're moving on because this is about the draft. Okay, and we're not drafting the kicker first, so so we don't even need to go there. All right, but since we are doing the draft in a couple weeks, and next week we will be doing Nick's second official and final mock draft, I thought it'd be fun, and I talked to the guys, and we thought it'd be fun to maybe go back and see who are some of our favorite draft picks. So I'll start on this one. I'm a diehard Washington fan. Y'all know Washington Football Weekly, Wednesday night at 8:00. Definitely got to plug y'all. What up, Ab? And I have my two favorite picks of all time. One came in 1992, right after we won the Super Bowl, and it was Desmond Howard out of Michigan. Mr. Heisman on him. Yes, Mr. Heisman, he was absolutely amazing. And in my mind, I thought it was crazy that the Heisman Trophy winner went to the Super Bowl champion. And I was like, oh, we're going back to the Super Bowl. Fortunately, we went 9-7, and that's what I want to talk about that. And my second guy, and Ab, I know you're with me on this. My second guy, and I got caught up in the hype. 2012. Andrew Luck got picked first, and then number 2, we traded it all for that guy. Mr. Griffin, Mr. Robert Griffin III. And hey, I'm telling you, for the next 6 months, it was euphoria. And then we played those bastards in Baltimore, and they broke my man down. We were looking at 10 years greatness. And then when they broke my man, That's right. And then you know what happened? After they broke him, they signed him to a contract and made him back up and sit on the bench. And then Robert Griffin was never the same. Never the same. So you know what, Nate? See, I see your face. You need to talk. So go ahead, Nate. What are some of your favorite draft picks? I'm coming for the smoke today, baby.
Smoke if you got him. Come on, Nate.
Oh my gosh.
Ab said it right. Let's go. Go.
Okay, in all seriousness, number one, I have to say for me, because I'm a Ravens fan, Joe Flacco. I know someone will say, "Oh my gosh, you didn't say Ray Lewis. Oh, are you crazy?" No, understand. Ray Lewis, I definitely was the face of our franchise. But people have to understand, we did not have a stable quarterback. I can name you 5 guys before Joe Flacco that you go, he was our quarterback. Vinny Testaverde was decent. Then you bring in Trent Dilfer, who was only here for 1 year. He should have been resigned. Elvis Gerback, Chris Redmond, Randall Cunningham, Jeff Blake, Kyle Bowler, Steve McNair. Mm-hmm. Steve McNair was all right, but then they choked in the AFC Championship game against the Colts, but that's neither here nor there. But Joe Flacco out of Delaware, I don't really understand. People were like, he's not, because his class was a little weird because it was just him and Matt Ryan, and then there's everybody else. So Flacco to me was that guy, especially coming in with John Harbaugh. And I think for those years that he was here, even though he wasn't, like Peyton Manning, Tom Brady. Joe Flacco helped us get to a championship. I could make an argument and say when he played, the year that we won the Super Bowl where he went nuts, he should have been considered an elite quarterback because he outplayed Andrew Luck, he outplayed Peyton Manning, and he outplayed Tom Brady twice, back-to-back years. So that was number one. And number two, I gotta say Anquan Bolden. Have to say Anquan Bolden because the guy that the Cardinals picked, I can't think of his name. His name escapes me, but they drafted him ahead of Anquan Bolden, and the rest is history. So I'm him, Larry Fitzgerald with Kurt Warner. I still think they should have won that Super Bowl. I'm biased because I have respect for some Steelers fans, but I just despise the Steelers. Him coming to Baltimore, I was real surprised when I remember that day when we traded for him. I was like, wow, we got Anquan Bolden, our number one wide receiver. So Anquan Bolden is another one that helped us get to the promised land. So those are my favorite draft picks.
I like that. All right, Delilah.
Sorry. I was trying to figure out because I'm trying to think about not just Bears players, right, that are drafted. I'm just thinking of overall, right? So I'm thinking of guys like Jerry Rice, right? Like obviously he's a superb draft pick. It's hard not to argue with that. Again, another so one of my favorite players, and he's not even on my team, is Troy Polamalu. So I love him. He's one of my favorite players, even though he plays for Pittsburgh. I love his whole attitude. Obviously, he's been killing it as a safety for Pittsburgh. He really went, but he is a really great draft pick. He really went out there, it's just his whole, it's not just that he was great at his position. It's just his whole personality, it's just so just fun, dude. When it comes to Bears, I loved when we drafted Devin Hester. I thought he was exciting. It was just, everybody just wanted to see that kid run, right? We just want, he gave us hope, even though we didn't win the Super Bowl. That was still one of the most exciting opening plays of all time. I don't care what people say. That was one of the best opening plays ever, right? Because he just took it even though everybody always says, make sure you kick away from him. They didn't, and he returned it for a touchdown. That was super exciting. So I'll never hate on that. And then I'll just do one honorable mention. I love Lance Briggs. I know he doesn't get a lot of love because everybody always thinks about Urlacher. No hate on that. But I feel like Lance Briggs was a big piece of that defense. And he was obviously a key part in that. So I love Lance Briggs. And I think he gets overshadowed by Urlacher all the time. And it's he was on it. Dude, he did a lot. So those are some of my favorite draft picks. There's more, but those are the few.
I like that. And shout out to Mr. Fingers, who's saying he's dating himself, but his favorite pick was Herschel Walker.
Okay.
I like that.
Herschel Walker. Herschel Walker.
There you go.
Good gracious.
Good old Herschel.
So, hey, Nick, what you got, man?
I agree.
Well,
Pablo, sorry. Yes, Devin Hester should be in the Hall of Fame next year.
For sure.
Oh, for sure. I agree with that.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Yeah,
I went with an actual Bears draft class because I want to read you when you look at this list.
James Allen.
Let's go.
No, because these guys all contributed to the Bears Super Bowl in the 85-86 season.
Of course.
This was the 1983 draft for the Bears. The first pick for them was Jimbo Covert at number 6, offensive tackle. And we all know Jimbo Covert. That guy was a monster on that line.
Yeah.
The second pick for us was Willie Gault at number 18. And of course, even though Willie Gault would never go over the middle, that guy could run out of the stadium and beat anybody on a long, And that was what Willie did, and that's what he did best, so that's fine. Mike Richardson was our third pick. Obviously, Mike played in our defensive back. If you listen to Super Bowl Shuffle, he's L.A. Mike, but whatever. And rest in peace to our fourth pick was Dave Duerson. Obviously linebacker, defensive back out of Notre Dame. Rest in peace, Dave. Tom Thayer was our next pick, who of course was another staple on that line. Tom Thayer, and then we had Pat Dunsmore, but he played tight end, and I don't think he was with the team by the next year, anyways. But Richard Dent was picked after him out of Tennessee State. We all know who Richard Dent, Hall of Famer, baby. Everybody
Super Bowl
knows
20
Richard
MVP.
Dent, my friend. That's right. And Mark Bortz was picked after him. Mark Bortz was another staple on their offensive line. So those are 7 picks right there in that 83 draft that helped the Bears win the Super Bowl just 2 years later. So see, this was back when the Bears knew how to draft. You understand what I'm saying here?
I wasn't biased. I said Jerry Rice and Palomalu, okay, Ablo?
Oh, you know what? I'm put a shirt on and relax.
Football, let's talk bias.
Talk about this one and that one. He said Ravens and Bears.
Yeah. Tell him to relax. Put a shirt on. I want to hear it. Calm down there, old man. Take it easy there. Take it easy.
Yes, as Nick was pointing out, yes, they did get all those guys in that draft.
Yeah, the 83 draft was phenomenal. So there's no way, and again, you see how you getting guys in the 7th and 8th round. Richard Dent was an 8th round pick.
Wasn't the Bears? Wasn't that 83 draft class ranked like number 3 of all time draft classes?
I have no idea. It's got to be close to number 1. Look at all those guys. They all contributed. Like they were all starters by the next year on that team, and they all contributed to that Super Bowl win. And again, Jimbo Covert, Richard Dent, like these guys. Yeah, no. Great
That's
draft.
The foundation. That's the foundation.
Yeah.
So now,
was my pick. That was my favorite draft. I guess I just went with the whole draft class. So
Tony Parrish was on your list neither. I mean, that was a lot of Chicago in that list.
Say again.
You should have just why don't you put Tony Parrish, Mike Brown, Olin Krutz, James Williams.
Doing the 83 draft, not the
overall
the
Bears.
Let's put that on the list.
Draft, smart guy. Don't worry.
Straight Chicago draft.
Call me when Baltimore wins the Super Bowl again, would you?
Hey, it's coming.
Ow.
It's coming.
You know what?
Let me know when the Bears win 10 games this year.
Because everybody in the AFC.
Let me know when they win 10 games.
It's not coming because everybody
get past
in the AFC
Get past
better.
Aaron Rodgers first. Then talk to me.
I'm not talking about us. I know we're not going anywhere. But you want to blow smoke about your team and
smoke.
Right. AFC gets better. You guys need to improve there, pal.
All right, man. We gotta move on. I ain't gonna let Nick and Nate steal the show with the smoke. They bringing the smoke today, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm fired up.
So, Nick, I'm gonna come back to you, man. So, what was your most memorable moment in the draft?
Okay, here's a memorable one, and it's memorable for a reason. I don't know if it's the most memorable, but it's one that sticks out. Obviously, in the 2004 draft, okay. As you know, Eli Manning did not want to play for the Chargers. He said, "I will not play for the Chargers. I don't want to play for the Chargers." So, what did the Chargers do on the day of the draft? Number 1 pick out of Ole Miss, Eli Manning. Go find it.
We don't care where you want to play.
Right. If you look at the picture, though, of him standing there with the number 1 jersey, like someone just pissed on his Cheerios because he was so mad that they took him. It's just one of those moments you don't forget. So he's just standing there, with the commissioner in the jersey, like, why the F am I here? This is ridiculous. But again, as we all know, that at number 4, the Giants took Phillip Rivers and made the trade. So Eli goes to the Giants, and Phillip Rivers, Hall of Famer to Phillip Rivers, I'm just saying, went to then the Chargers.
There you go.
You and I are on the same page, Nick, on that. Yes.
So there you go. But just a memorable moment only because to see Eli standing there, just, with the jersey and like, you mother flowers for picking me after I told you I wouldn't play for you. Which is one of the reasons, too, that I really didn't like Eli Manning for a lot of years.
Yeah, because that wasn't cool.
And it's the same thing with John Elway when he told Baltimore, I will not play for you if you draft me. And I didn't like John Elway ever. Like, I was so happy when Denver lost Super Bowls. Like, even when John Elway won his last 2 at the end of his career, I was still cursing him out from not wanting to get drafted.
I was bitter for those,
Yeah, I hated John Elway. Again,
I still feel like him not playing for the X when he decided not to play for the Colts. I felt like that really messed the Colts up. I think that would have.
They moved the next year.
They moved it, exactly.
You're not going to play for. Like, I honestly hoped he never won a Super Bowl, but he got a few at the end of his career. Fine. But yeah, I've never been a John Elway fan, and I never will be, and that's fine. You guys can have him. It's fine. I know what he did in his career. I know all the stuff. Yeah, I know. Miracle quarterback. I know. I will never like John Elway.
It was a punk move. It was a punk move, and it was honestly one of those first times when you see the college player being brash and being like, I'm not going to play here. Like, you get a choice. Really?
Yeah. He wasn't the last.
And I feel like his dad and Peyton should have stepped in and said, bro, listen, just play for them. But the Chargers ended up had Drew Brees and then got Phillip Rivers. So they had two Hall of Fame quarterbacks playing for their franchise.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So Eli Manning's just known for beating Tom Brady twice.
Everybody loves Eli.
Right. Who you got?
For me, it was when, man, I gotta say, Eagles fans, y'all rough. But when they booed Donovan McNabb,
rough. Yeah, it was awful.
Man, Eagles fans, y'all, man, like booed him, like man.
I felt bad because they really wanted Ricky Williams.
Yeah, I like Donovan, man. I thought he's a cool dude. You know what I'm saying? I felt so bad because he's up there smiling and they're just boo. I was like, oh my god.
I thought Jets fans were bad. Eagles fans.
Yeah,
Brady.
Exactly.
I felt so bad for him because that's like, an exciting moment. He's like, and he's getting booed by the team he's going to go represent. I'm just like, oh my god.
The Bluebirds were out.
We're out.
I didn't care when they booed the commissioner. He deserves to get booed every time he goes out there. So, I know.
Not Donovan McNabb.
Yeah, not Donovan McNabb.
Not McNabb.
No.
Hey, Chicago boy, Donovan McNabb out of Mount Carmel High School, my friend.
But that's what I'm saying. Like I always would.
I always rooted for Donovan. Yeah, I always rooted for Donovan McNabb. Chicago boy. Yeah,
I'm saying like the comment. Yeah, that's when they started booing Roger Goodell. That's what I mean. Like, because in 2011, they decide. I don't know if you guys remember, but that's when they were disputing, right? Like the players were arguing with the union. Players were locked out.
I remember that. Yeah.
And but they went forward with the draft anyway. And so that year was when they started booing him. And now every time he goes on stage, they boo him.
Might as well.
That was in 2011. But that's Donovan McNabb. I felt bad for that
guy. Don't treat my man like that. That ain't right.
And that's all I'm saying. That's a Chicago boy. Y'all like doing him like that.
Leave him alone. Dirty. Right.
Anyway, that was a memorable moment for me because
I
really
volleyball
did.
player, by the way, as well. Donovan McNabb. He played.
I didn't know that.
He played basketball too.
He played basketball too. It was like a 4-sport athlete. That guy played everything.
I knew basketball, but I didn't know he played volleyball. That's good to know.
Boys volleyball team at Mount Carmel too.
Hey, okay.
Look at this guy.
Look at that. Yeah, no, but that was
I was in the Catholic League. I went to Gordon Tech. I saw these guys play. Come on.
But yeah, so that was a moment for me because I really did feel bad for him. But
exactly.
But and shout out to him because all he did was take the Eagles to 4 NFC Championship games and 1 Super Bowl period. So you can boo me if you want to.
Right, boo me all you want.
And then what happened? Then he came to Washington.
Well, he did go to Washington.
He didn't do that bad. He didn't do that bad. He didn't do that bad in Washington.
You know what, though, Sean? I think I'm starting to sense a pattern here.
Bad.
You wanted to say Jim McMahon said quarterbacks want to come to Chicago to die. I think they go to Washington to die. I don't know, bro. Like,
listen, I said since '93. Listen, I said since '93 up to maybe 2012.
Right. I think quarterbacks go to Washington to die. My friend.
You think Jeff George is horrible?
I definitely think he was horrible. Yes.
Did you just say that, Nate?
Are we talking ability?
Really
No, he had great ability, but as playing,
I was asking a question.
Yes,
I know. I'm just
Jeff George, Patrick Ramsey, Jason Campbell, Mark Brunell.
No. Jason Campbell, Mark Brunell. No, I don't think they were bad. Mark Brunell had success. Jason Campbell had decent success, but he had certain trouble. Okay. Look, Nate, give me your most memorable moment, man. Give me your most memorable moment. So I can go down the list.
He's about to have it in 5
quarterbacks.
minutes if he keeps it up. I'm going to give him a memorable moment.
So I have two of them. So the first one is David Carr being drafted by the Texans.
Yeah,
former number one overall pick, and everybody was like just booing him. And then you hear Chris Berman, well, now how the heck can you boo a guy like that? and unfortunately, David Carr didn't pan out as a
as the Raiders.
He didn't pan out, unfortunately, but he does have 2 rings. So, and the second one recently, I have to honestly, I'm being honest when I say this. Lamar Jackson, to be drafted last in his class. And I mean, Nick, you can sit there and shrug your shoulders, but it's the truth. No. The way he came.
I like Lamar Jackson, honestly.
I mean, I think when his name was called, he was just like, okay, that's how y'all feel. Because I mean, I think him being drafted last. I think it's been motivation for him, and look what he's done since he's been in the league. He's league MVP. He's breaking records that have never you wouldn't think would be broken, and you have to say he and Josh Allen were the 2 best quarterbacks in the draft class. So those are my 2 most memorable draft moments.
Okay, fair enough.
An honorable mention. I will say the linebacker. He played for the Falcons. He had a picture of his grandmother.
Andre, wait, in the 80s or
no? This is recently. He was a linebacker for he drafted by the Falcons. He had a picture of his grandmother. And, I can't think of his name. Lamar Jackson, bias again. I'm not going to respond to that. I'm not going to respond to that.
You know what, Eb? You're watching, aren't you? You can sit over there on your couch without your shirt on and comment all you want, my friend, but you're watching. That's right.
McKinney. Thank you. That's his name, McKinney.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was a good moment.
He's killing me today. I'm telling you.
That's hilarious. I love it. I love it.
So I got to go. My most memorable. I know you'll like this one. Obviously, 2012. When RG3 came in, he looks like Andre 3000, my favorite artist. I thought the stars were aligning, everything was perfect. We saw how that turned out. But my other one was when we went up Ricky Williams' year, when Mike Ditka was the coach of the Saints, and they traded everything in their power to us. And I'm like, this is it. This is it. We did absolutely nothing. I have never seen a team waste so many draft picks.
Yeah. Not good. So, the Bears have wasted many draft picks, so yes, you have. Because the Bears waste draft picks all the time. So
yeah.
Don't worry about it.
Awful.
So 1999, y'all got Champ Bailey.
Yeah, we did. And then we traded him for Clint Portis. And Clint Portis got injured every other year. Remember, he broke his collarbone one preseason. Another year he was out for the whole year. So
yeah,
Champ's definitely instant Hall of Famer.
Listen, it's not just y'all. Look, an honorable mention is when the Bears traded up to pick Trubisky at number 2.
Yeah, when he would have been there at number 3.
He would have been there in the second.
Y'all not gonna let Mitch Trubisky breathe, are y'all?
No, I'm just saying. He's in Buffalo.
He's probably gonna go win a Super Bowl ring. Don't worry about it.
What shocked us, what we gave up in order to pick him at 2.
Just to move up one spot, right?
That's all it was. We were 3rd.
I guarantee you, nobody was taking him at 2. I don't care.
I remember that. One of the comments said was that chick who got pulled off her boyfriend by his mom because of the girl he got extra when his name was called would not get out the camera. I think that was last year. Yeah, that was last year's draft. I know you're talking about. So I can't think of his name. But she really pulled her, get off my baby.
Yeah.
Right. that hug first, baby. You want to get that hug first?
Because the draft was from home last year, obviously COVID era. So you know, everybody was comfortable. I guess
that's what moms would have done to me. I know it. I understand.
I get comfortable with her baby, and she's like, no.
Yo, shout out to Chris Bass watching the show. He said David Carr was good, but the Texans never blocked for him. They didn't give him any help, ruined his career. So, and I'm glad he actually talked about that, because then that poses the next question, which is
the bust.
Who's your top 3 biggest draft bust? Now, listen, I'm going to give you a bunch of names, okay? I mean, Marcus Russell, we know. Ryan Leaf. We go old school, say Brian Bosworth. Tony Mandarich. Michigan State in late 89. Josh Rosen recently. I mean, he's bounced around at 3 or 4 teams.
The verdict is still out on Josh, though, I think. I don't know if I call him a bust just yet.
I mean, have you done anything?
Potential bust.
Yeah, potential bust. Johnny Football, Tim Couch. Heath Schuler, that's
Tim Couch.
Joey Harrington.
Yeah.
Joe, so those are just a couple names out there. Delilah, I'm coming to you first. Give me.
So I'm gonna say a name. I don't know if it's Kat watching. She probably fell asleep. But Charles Rogers.
Yes, Charles Rogers in Detroit.
Wide receiver. I mean, Rogers. You know, what's sad is that he did have a lot of promise, but he just ran into a lot of issues. Really, is what kept him from playing. Yeah. So it was like everybody expected him, especially when you come out of Michigan State and they go play for Detroit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, people are like, yeah, Michigan, you know, it's like, but yeah, I know that he's someone that, you know, people really think of, but he just, I don't know if you guys, you know, he just ran into a lot of stuff. Like, he got arrested a lot. It just, you know, got injured. So, you know, it's just a lot. But honestly, that for me, like, even though he's a bust, it's a sad bust, you know, because he had a lot going for him and it just didn't pan out. So, but yeah, kind of, you know, it's it's messed up all around, but you know, feel bad. I feel bad. I just feel bad. That's all.
I understand. Hey, I get it. We have all this promise. We hope everything works for it, but unfortunately, sometimes it does not. I'll go next. And these aren't going to be names that everybody's going to think about. These are going to be names that I did mention. I talked to you guys about it before. I think 3, the most distinct busts in my memory, are 3 that I actually thought were going to be pretty elite, and I was wrong. Number 1, Number 1, Heath Schuler, I did not. I knew he was garbage. He got him at Tennessee. And I'm going to tell you how I knew he was garbage. I'm very big on what numbers you wear. And certain positions have certain numbers, and quarterbacks have numbers that are supposed to be 1 through 19. In college, Heath Schuler's number was 21. And in my mind, I was like, no, this just does not compute in my mind. He was terrible for us. Ended up becoming a congressman, I believe, still doing that. We weren't great, so wasn't like, you know, we helped. But then his backup, Gus Bryant, ended up coming in, saving the day for a little bit of time. You know, we had some awful quarterbacks at the time. So, and then my second one, Joey Harrington. Again, he went to Detroit, bad situation. So a lot of this is the situation you go into, but he was highly touted out of Oregon. I remember he was on that college football game in like 2003 or something like that.
Football,
yeah. But he never panned out, never worked. He played in the league for a couple years, but things just never worked out for him. And my last one is this guy that's most very recent, Johnny Football. I mean, we all hear the stories of what he's doing now. I mean, some would say that some of the biggest waste of talent in the history of the game. I mean, this guy literally, you know, ran circles around Alabama, and he came into the league and it was a Justin Bieber type thing. Let's smoke, drink, your money, all this nonsense. I'll never forget that year after he won the Heisman when he just started doing this all the time. And then he gets suspended like for the first half of a game against Rice, and he's getting all, I'm like, are you kidding? And but you knew that's where his focus was. You knew that's where his focus was. So
money.
Yeah, so those three in my mind were just I thought they were going to be something different, especially for Harrington and Johnny Football, and they definitely disappointed. They definitely were just So, Nate, what you got, man?
Oh, top 3 busts of all time. I have to say number 1 is Kajana Carter. Injury. It really just the injury bug just messed him up. He had a lot of promise, but injuries just messed him up.
Yeah.
I have to say Achilles Smith, my second one. That 99 class, I'd say Achilles Smith has to be he's the biggest bust we don't really talk about. Out of Oregon, Smith was drafted by Cincinnati, didn't pan out at all, and then he tried to make a comeback in the Canadian Football League. Honorable mention, Andre Wadsworth, defensive end.
Yeah.
And he's another one. Injury bug messed him up. Number 3.
Comments are hilarious. Sorry.
I have to say Ryan Leaf.
Oh, yeah.
Ryan Leaf, because he was the guy that was drafted RS number 1 before Peyton Manning. Everybody talked that before that draft. Who would you have taken? Peyton Manning or Ryan Leaf? Yeah. Ryan Leaf, was more explosive, but maturity-wise and a more complete ball player was Peyton Manning. So, and Peyton Manning is a Hall of Famer, and Ryan Leaf has 4 wins in 3 seasons. So,
yeah, exactly.
True.
Oh, we talked about Jamarcus before the show, Ab. Yeah. So
Jamarcus Russell definitely is.
It's way too.
I think it was.
Obvious.
I mean, he was great at LSU. I don't know. Maybe just Oakland just wasn't a good fit. I just feel like Oakland just wasn't.
But and you know what? Even to go there, Nathan. How was he great? Great at LSU. Like he
was decent. I mean, people were comparing him to Big Ben.
Yeah. But they shouldn't. I don't think they should have given him that pick, though. I don't think
they shouldn't have.
Yeah.
But again, I think that's just Oakland, just being Oakland.
Yeah.
Like, okay, we're going to draft him because it's Jamarcus Russell.
Right. And now shout out to Chris Bass because he was saying, and I agree with this. Ryan Leaf was a monster at Washington. It's a different situation for Ryan Leaf. That was actually a legitimate debate between Ryan Leaf
and Peyton Manning. But the biggest thing people were saying was Ryan Leaf was his maturity. That was Ryan Leaf's biggest problem. Everyone was like, well, Peyton Manning is more of a complete ball player, and he's a little bit more mature.
Yeah.
And then and then it's like you see him going off on teammates and reporters. Ryan Leaf. It's like, oh, okay. Where's that guy at?
Right.
Where's the guy from Washington State at?
Right.
And these guys were monsters. But Nick, what you got, man?
Well, number 1, I'm going to go with it. I know everybody's going to be like, oh, really? Well, back then, whenever you were the number 1, even any draft, when you're the number 1 pick overall, the expectation is that you're coming in ready to play. You're going to be the guy and all that. So one of my big busts is the 1990 draft overall first pick out of Illinois, quarterback Jeff George. Now, good old Jeff he's the number 1
was he picked by the Colts?
Yes, sir. And let me tell you something. He did not.
Thank you.
He did not do very well. He has a career record of 46 and 78. Okay, here's a guy who has a completion rate of 58% for his entire career. Think about this. He played for 5 different teams. It took him till his 10th year in the league to go 8-2. And the 10 starts he had that year. Every other year was basically a losing record for Mr. Jeff George. Now, the thing is, some could argue that playing in the NFL for 12, 13 years is a good thing. But when you suck as bad as Jeff did, coming off of being the number 1 overall pick, I got to say that's a bust.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. That's a bust. And another was one that Tony Mandarich that we were talking about and Sean had mentioned.
Michigan State.
Mandridge came out highly touted. Everybody's like, this guy's the best offensive lineman we've seen.
Right.
He's a beast. He's this, he's that. He gets taken, plays the 3 years in Green Bay, doesn't play. I mean, doesn't play a lot, but he plays, and then he's out of the league 3 years. After 3 years, he's out of the league. And the crazy part is he makes a small comeback 5 years later. Think about this. He's away from football for 5 years and comes back to a situation in Indy where he gets to block for Peyton Manning.
Yes, sir.
So he had a little bit of success in his career, but for the most part, only playing 6 seasons, being gone for the 5 years, like Tony's career pretty much just blew up on him.
Oh, yeah.
So,
hey,
Tony,
shout out to Chris Bass, because that's an ode to the steroids. That's before we really knew what juicing and all that stuff.
What juicing
right.
Right. It was because he was even on the cover of Sports Illustrated back then. He made the cover, because everybody was touting Mandridge as the next big NFL superstar lineman, and boy, did he prove them wrong. So anyway, it's that cover jinx, right? If you appear on a cover of something, usually ends up going bad for you.
I think they do. I think they have talked about that. Yeah.
It is, man. The cover jinx is real. It's real. I'm telling you, it's real. But Ryan Leaf was my other one, because and like you said, when you win 4 games in 3 seasons, and you're supposed to be one of you're the number 2 pick in the draft at quarterback. That's something, Ryan. And then again, I'm glad that he's turned his life around. We all know about the struggles Ryan has had. But I did see a feature on him about a year ago, and he's doing well. He's out of jail. He's getting himself together. So, more power to Ryan for turning his life around. But
he does the commentary for the Pac-12.
He's a Pac-12,
yeah.
Okay.
So he actually does pretty good commentary. I mean, I watch a lot of those Pac-12 games. So
so he turned his life around. Good for him. But definitely a bust as far as the NFL goes.
Oh yeah.
You didn't know? We're not putting Tim. Are we saying Tim Couch is a bust?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
We did.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. You don't think so?
No.
Really?
No, I don't, because name me in the 5 years he was a starter for Cleveland. Name me 5 offensive players Tim Couch had to work with.
So, but by that, then you'd say, well, Heath Schuler's not a bust. Joey Harrington's not a bust. They didn't have anybody to play with.
Name 5 all-star receivers that Tom Brady played with outside of Randy Moss. And look at the quarterback Brown. He was.
You don't call Troy Brown an all-star. Don't call Troy Brown an all-star receiver.
Bro. I said all-stars. Wes Welker.
I can't.
Deion Branch.
Deion Branch is the only one I might give you. And that's because he's Super Bowl MVP.
You're better than that, buddy. Don't do that to me.
You don't think Troy Brown was a good player?
Good player? Wait. What's the question? Good player or good receiver? A stud receiver is what we ask. Good player, yes. Because he can play everything.
Brady played with a lot of guys who were just average. Let's be honest.
But they didn't have the greatest
weapons
but coaching matters.
Well, obviously, we're going to find out, because, Tom won one without Belichick. There was Belichick does this year. I know coaching matters, but come
on. Ryan Leaf had Marty Schottenheimer.
Mandridge the mullet. Oh my God, I forgot about that dude. But I didn't really pay attention to the Packers.
I'm just saying, like, if you're gonna, if you're gonna make that argument,
how are you ranking the GOAT?
Yeah, one of these days we're gonna bring Ab on the show.
Right? Does he put a shirt on here? Does he take? This isn't Washington Football Weekly. If he comes on our show, he better have a shirt on.
That's what I'm saying. The only reason I consider him a disappointment, I don't consider him a bust, because Tim Couch had nothing to work with. Yeah. He had Kevin Johnson, Quincy Morgan, Jawan Dawson. He didn't even have a running game. He led him to 1 playoff appearance.
One, yeah.
That's not, you can't go with Tim Couch.
Allen Robinson a bust, do you? And he had nobody to play with either. Look at his quarterbacks.
But again, look, you look at Jamarcus Russell. Who did he have? He had a bunch of washed up older guys. Jamarcus Russell, Heath Schuler. I'll give you Josh Rosen and the team. Well, he's actually had people. He's a bust because he's had people play with. But Jamarcus had nobody, right? Leaf had a decent team. He had good coaching. He was just a natural bust. Some of these guys, I don't think we can make that argument that it's team and coach specific. Because if we're talking about the player,
right?
I think it's you got to put onus and accountability on that.
Right, what did Tim Couch do to make the team better? I'm just saying. Like,
Okay,
I know
and what did the Browns do to make the team better? Make the team better. The Browns didn't do anything.
That means anybody in that block that of futility for the Browns is just considered. We're going to give them a pass because that whole thing was garbage.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
the whole 5 years after they came back was no, they were just guys they just filling spots.
Right.
Courtney Brown, Gerald Warren.
Who's Mr. Fingers? Who's Mr. Fingers?
That's my man. So that's my man, Anthony Handy.
Oh,
he said Mason Rudolph is a bust.
Yeah.
Mason Rudolph, yeah.
Boz. So that's another question. Boz. We talked about that before the show. Boz, we think so. In my mind, he's a bust because he came into the league so hyped from college, so hyped, like he was going to be the next best thing,
linebacker in the world, right? Like
that ended one Monday night against the Raiders.
Oh, that's right.
With Bo Jackson took him at the goal line, and they was about to strike it and said, "You know what? Nope."
He made a business decision.
His question was, who had the better mullet, Mandrich or Boz? Because Mandrich is also for the Packers considered a bust.
Bosworth had the mohawk.
Mandrich.
Bosworth had the mohawk right in the middle, and it came out to the rat tail or whatever.
Yeah.
What happened
remember these two.
Yeah. Well, Mandrich, what you learned is he was on steroids, which obviously
Tony was in.
Affected things.
That affected everything.
You could have said Courtney Brown out of Penn State.
I mean, it's like Kevin White from the Bears. I mean, there's a lot of people who are bust.
Kevin White is a bust. Ugh.
Yeah.
Cade McNown didn't exactly pan out for the Bears, and he was a number 12 pick at quarterback.
But again, that's with longevity, though, because didn't he play in a league? Something has to be said if you can play X amount of years in the league.
Why? We just proved that Jeff George played 12, 13 years and he sucked.
Right. I know. You know what?
Means nothing, my friend. What are you talking about?
You know what?
It doesn't always mean anything.
You know what's interesting is that I was thinking about, okay, I know who my busts are, but then I was doing research what the people think. You know that some people think Bo Jackson is a bust?
Really?
No, I don't think he's a bust. I mean, he was a two-sport athlete.
Right.
In football, yeah. It came up in a few lists. Yeah.
So what messed him up was that injury. That's what messed him up. He wasn't the same.
I'm not saying
you're not saying that, but I'm just saying for those that people are saying he's a bust, understand this guy, is an athlete. Exactly. His career was cut short.
Right. No, like I said, I agree. Yeah. But I'm saying he came up a few times. I agree.
Right. I mean, I guess I see their point. If you want to look at it from the hype, and then he got hurt, so then he didn't play anymore. But are we going to count people who give like career-ending injuries, like they're a bust because they had a career-ending injury?
Yeah, I think Ablo made that point. Yeah, because he didn't last long. Yeah, I think Ab is right.
I get that, but was he impactful while he was there? Absolutely.
No, I think what he's saying is.
I don't think it is.
No, I don't either. But I think
the point. I get the point. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Are we putting Chad Pennington on that list too?
Sure. Name them all. Rashawn Salam, Curtis Enos. Put them all the Penn State guys.
I don't know. I don't know about Chad Pennington because Chad Pennington had some decent years. I thought Chad Pennington had some decent years with the Jets. So I don't necessarily know if I would put him on that list.
I don't know if I'd ever say that sentence again if I were you. Nobody's had good years with the Jets. What are you talking about?
Bates has already led them to the AFC Championship.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, what are we talking about?
Not Chester Verdi. Come on.
Yes, Nick, get out of here. They went to back-to-back. They went to the championship with Sanchez, Nick.
Mr. Butt Fumble. I know Butt Fumble.
You know what, Nick? I'm not. No, you know what?
I gotta walk off of that.
I ain't gonna give that to you. I have to bring in. Yeah. Oh, look, Nate.
Let him go. He wasn't drinking no smoke anyway. Let him go. What does he want?
Yo, we have to move on.
Oh, he's back. Nice to see you, Nate. Let's go.
Yo, the Jets were solid. Get out of here.
Yeah.
Nobody's listening.
Relax.
Ab makes a good point.
Championship game, okay, relax.
No, I think Ab, you
championship games who don't, come on.
So Ab has a good point. The problem is that everybody's definition of bust is different.
Exactly. Thank you.
Thank you,
Ab.
But that's where it becomes
it's all subjective, Ab. I told you, if you put a shirt on and join the discussion.
You say Delilah. Go ahead again. Delilah.
No. I said that is what bust. It is subjective, right? It really
all of this is. We're giving our opinion. What are you talking about?
Delilah, would you let her talk, man? Dang, go on, Nick. How you coming for everybody?
I'm coming for everybody. Don't piss me
off.
I'm sorry. Don't want none of this.
What we agree is a bust, and here we are arguing over what's a bust or not. I don't think would ever come up. I don't think the four of us. I think the four of us could come up with a definition that's a bust. I don't because it's so subjective, right? Like it is a subjective thing. When you guys go on, I've seen your watch the football shows. Y'all don't come on there.
Sean,
agree.
Delilah, that's right.
No, it's the truth. You're absolutely right. Yeah. We don't define it at the same time.
Y'all don't agree on stuff.
That's the reason I'm kind of upset right now. Because you guys are acting like this is this is the truth and nothing but the truth. Like we're all giving our opinions here, man. Like this is based on what we believe. It's subjective. I
understand
of a bust is going to be different.
Get that,
Dan.
But don't be disrespectful to Vinny. But don't be disrespectful to Vinny Testaverde. He led that Jets team to the AFC Championship game. How dare you?
Fine. Okay, congratulations to Vinny. All right.
Is he a bust?
Why is that being disrespectful? I didn't say it was a bust. Right. Did I say it was a bust?
No, I was asking the question.
The Jets were horrible.
Look,
and you guys wanted to throw
somebody waiting. We gotta wait. We gotta move on. We've lost control of the show.
We did.
I gotta bring this thing back. I have to
say, give me a link so I can join. Give Nick all this.
We got somebody already on here because I already got a question. We're gonna ask.
Let's go.
No. I already got a question. No,
I like it.
I already got a question. I already got something going.
No, we got it. But Mr. Finger's definition is pretty good. But prior to the draft, came into the league and laid a big fat egg like Ryan Leaf. That's good.
Thank you.
That's a good definition.
I got Nick brought up like Judge Judy.
Nick's coming for the smoke, Nick.
That's right. Come on with it. I'm not scared.
I'm
not here.
Sean, you got Al over here asking for a link.
Right
Give it
there.
to him.
Bring it. Let's go.
No, I got somebody. Wait, see, y'all trying to take over the daggone show. Good gracious. I got somebody here waiting in the back room who's been sitting here waiting patiently because he asked an amazing question on there. I didn't know where y'all were going to go. Y'all went to this crazy town. And look, we can have it where y'all bring an Ab and y'all can just sit here and argue all daggone night. Because that's what, not you, Delilah. I know. I'm talking about y'all.
I was sharing his comments.
I know. I'm just saying. If y'all, because that's just, see, it's just, the room is full of smoke right now. I can't see. All right, I'm trying to see right now. All right, look, I got my man John Lenny on here. We're coming to this point. One last word where my man John Lenny is joining the show, and he's going to bring us a question that he put on the Let's Talk Football group, and I thought it was absolutely amazing. So, John, I'm going to welcome you to the show. John Lenny, what's up, man? What's going on?
John, what's good, baby?
Let's go.
Oh, sorry, I was trying to clear the screen so I could see because of all the fog.
All right, all the smoke.
Hey, John,
let's
you
go.
Want to get us back? Calm down. It's the first time here. Calm down.
It's your first time.
Actually, it's my second. It's my second.
It is a
second time.
Shout out to John. First appearance he made was on Let's Talk Football with Janae Strother and myself talking about the Super Bowl. And you are back. We're so glad we're able to have you back. Now, John, you posed a question on Let's Talk Football, the group, and I thought it was absolutely amazing. I talked to the guys. They also thought it was great. So, John, go ahead and repose that question, and I'll swing it around the group and see what we think.
Yeah, so I actually was thinking about this for months, but just got around to asking it. But basically, so the situation that I laid out, I'm sure some of you already saw it, but both teams have 3 timeouts. There's 7 minutes left in the fourth quarter. You're up by 1, and then you score a touchdown. Do you go for 2 or do you kick the extra point?
No, I like that. I like that. Nick, since you seem already fired up, what you got, man?
Cool him down.
So here we go. No, I mean, and again, this is what I would do. You guys, some may differ, whatever. I kick the extra point, and I'll tell you why. You got to lead. You got the 1-point lead. You score the touchdown. You're now up 7. You kick the extra point. You're up 8. I know, given the new rules in the NFL, you can go for 2 points. So let's, for the sake of this discussion, you're up 8. You kick the extra point, and it's good. You have, scoring a 2-point conversion is not a given in the NFL. We've seen that. So now you're trusting your defense to stop them on 2 different situations. To stop them, one, from scoring, and if they happen to do score, now you prevent them from going, from getting the 2-point conversion. You have that opportunity to do that. Now, some people will argue the opposite and go, well, if you miss, if you get the touchdown, you're up 7, and you go for the 2-point and miss, you're only up 7. Well, the same thing, if you kick the extra point, you're still up 7. So either way you look at that, for me, I'd rather be up 8 than be up 7. Because again, a lot of times going for a 2-point conversion is not a given. And I know some people will say, go for the throat. But, with 3 timeouts left, and given the situation too, with 3 timeouts on each side, you don't know how the rest of that game is going to go. You said there was probably 7 minutes left, I think you said. Mm-hmm. And you said there's about 7, with 7 minutes left. So there's plenty of time for both of you to get the ball back if you both have 3 timeouts. So there's a lot more to consider there. But me personally, I go up 8 points. I trust that my defense can, even if they don't stop them the first time, they stop them on the 2-point. Or even if they don't stop them on the 2-point, you got an overtime situation instead of losing. Because if you, so I don't know. For me, I go up 8. That's just me.
I like that. Delilah, what you think?
I think that it's very easy for us to go like, oh, let's go for the 2-point, right? Like, the game's on the line. But I think that with 7 minutes, that is a lot of time in football, even if it is the fourth quarter. So I think I would actually risk the 2-point with 7 minutes. Now, if it was less time, like if the question was, oh, you have 2 minutes left in the game, then I would kick the field goal, because I feel like the likelihood of, I'm not saying you can't, because we've seen things happen in 2 minutes, but I think with 2 minutes, I'll kick the field goal. But if there's 7 minutes in the game, I would risk the 2-point conversion. Maybe that makes me like Riverboat.
I like that. I agree with you, honestly, and that's one of the things I posted on the group. I said, I'd go for the juggler. I try to make it a 2-possession game. I try to get the 2-point conversion, go up 9, and then just, and I already had the conversation with my defense. Hey guys, I'm putting it on you regardless. I need you to stop them, period. You know what I mean? So, but if we do this, I feel like this could be like the nail in the coffin. So I'm going for the kill, and but that's like Delilah said, that's that riverboat. That's that riverboat Ron mentality. Nathan, what you got?
Okay, so I want to make sure I understand this. So you're saying there's 7 minutes left in the game. You're leading by how many points again?
7, and you have to choose whether to kick the extra point or go for 2.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a couple of things I would do with that. One, I'm gonna run the clock down as much as possible. I'm not letting my opponent get the ball back. If I'm gonna let them get the ball back,
you already scored.
Yes, you already scored.
Yeah, you were up 1.
Right.
And you scored a touchdown.
Right.
So now that 6 points put you up 7. So do you go for 2?
Or do you pick the field goal?
Yeah, you pick the field goal, you'll be up 8. If you go for 2, then I'm
gonna play it safe. I'm taking the field goal. I'm gonna put trust in my defense.
You and Nick agree. See, you guys do agree on stuff.
Wow.
Wow.
I'm gonna play it safe because the 2-point conversion, because I'm not going to take that chance. Where it's okay if I'm running a goal line. What's the chance? Okay, I'm gonna give the ball to Saquon Barkley, for example, and he gets stuffed. Where I can trust a Justin Tucker, to get me that extra point. So I'm going to play it safe there, and I'm going to trust my defense to win me the game because defense wins championships.
Okay.
That I agree
John,
with.
I didn't see. What did you answer, John?
I actually didn't answer. I was still thinking about what I would answer. But one point I didn't really hear anyone bring up at all, actually, is even if you miss the 2-point conversion, you're still up 7 points.
Right.
I did mention that's what. I should have mentioned that, but that's where I was going. Either way, you have a 7-point lead. If you kick the extra point, if you miss the extra point, you're still up 7. You miss the 2-point conversion, you're still up 7.
Right.
So,
Right.
Good point, though. Yeah, good point.
That's because that's a major factor, and that's the deciding factor to me when I make the decision to say go for it, because it's like, well, if it's different if I'm up 6, and if I miss it, and then a touchdown extra point wins it. If I'm up 7 at that point, and I have let's go for it. I want to show my team. Yes, I trust you guys. I'm with it. So yeah.
I will say a caveat, though, because I remember watching the Chiefs and Chargers game, I think a few years ago, whereas Phillip Rivers and Patrick Mahomes. The one downside, though, is that if you're up 7 and say like the other team goes down and scores with very little time left, they could go for 2 and the win. But we don't see that too often.
Right.
That's true.
Often, right. Correct.
Right. That's what I'm saying, Ab, right? 7 minutes is a long time to contemplate, right? And so that's why for me, I feel like I would gamble, especially if I'm up. If I'm up, then I'll be like, fine, let's just go for the 2, because it's just I want to do that, like that, hungry factor. That's all. Like, be like, yeah, we're just gonna go for it, grind it, like.
and that's the thing. It's about. I agree. I see what you're saying, Ab, with the 7 minutes. And being too long, like what Delilah was saying. But honestly, I also think that is with analytics, because if you have 7 minutes and you're up by now 2 possessions, now that other coach has to think, all right, we got to score, be it a field goal or a touchdown. We now have to score and then get the ball back. So you mean
that's both sides too.
Well, right, exactly. And again, and Ab, you made a perfect point, man. I think there's a lot of factors that have to go into it. How your defense has been playing. That's somebody put up on the post on the group. How's your offense been playing? How's the kicker been for the game? Because that makes a difference. If you don't have a kicker and you have to go for the 2 because you don't trust them, like it's not many teams that have that problem, but some teams have that problem. There's a lot of things to look into. Good.
I don't. Okay. Yes. In a perfect world, there's more things to consider here, but I don't think we should get too caught up in that. We're just answering the question that John asked.
Right. And my answer.
That's all I'm saying. Like,
I'm going Ron Rivera on this. I'm going
Rivera because that's how we all go off on tangents, because we do that.
Right.
Like you said, maybe we should have defined what a bust is before the show started. But that's the whole thing. Like, we were discussing what did we think a bust was. John asked a question, and simply that's the question we answered. We could go all day with let's consider this, consider that. I mean, this,
but
did the defense give up this? Did the offense give up this?
Yeah.
In 7 minutes left in a game, this team has always done this, or this team has always done that.
That's my answer.
Where does it end?
I'm going for 2. I'm going for 2.
John, what's up?
Yeah, so I wanted to add, actually, because I was just thinking, Ablo talked about how 7 minutes is a long time. But another thing that we didn't mention, though, is that
Nick is like, well, I'm sorry, I'm just laughing.
Don't agree with me.
no, but I was just saying.
True, Ab. I think you're a fabulous guy, but you're right. I don't agree with you on this.
Yeah. All right, John, go ahead, John. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, because Ablo talked about how 7 minutes is still a long time, but I think what we all forget is that if the opposing team goes down and scores to make it either a 1-point or 2-point game, depending on what we decide to do based on my situation, they're probably going to go for 2 anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Like if it's an 8-point game on the next.
Also, too, you got to also. I mean, and add on to that, John, you got to take into consideration. I don't know how much time they took off the clock. So if you're an offensive coordinator, like we gotta we gotta go. We gotta score. Like,
yeah. So Nathan, if you, I'm just wondering because if but let's say they kick the extra point and then 2 minutes later they score with 5 minutes left, like they score a touchdown with 5 minutes left. I mean, I'm thinking they're going for 2 at that point. Wouldn't you think?
I'm thinking they're going for 2 as well, but I think for me, I guess I'm looking at it from the offensive offensive perspective. Okay, they go up 2 or they go up and up 1, and there's 5 minutes. If the game is tied, I'm taking as much clock time off that clock, and I'm not giving them the ball back. I'm going to win the game. So
but you have 3 timeouts on the other side.
They can burn those 3. They can burn those 3 timeouts all they want to. They're not getting the ball back.
But then, but
they
both
will if they burn
you
3
might have
timeouts and stop you. Right, like you might have. That's what I'm saying. There's way too many variables. And like,
all right, look.
We were just answering the simple question that John asked, and it turned into this whole conversation about situational and all this stuff. Like,
it's the round table.
Right, just answer the man's question. That's all he wanted. He just wanted the question answered.
We're trying to bring the conversation around to everybody. It's the round table, Nick.
We good.
I know, and everybody answered. I'm just saying. The man asked one simple question, and we turned it into like we act like we're ESPN or something on here. Like we're deep diving. Like we're all,
Hey, you prepared. You prepared for the job that you want to be in. That's the way you play.
I'm prepared. I'm just saying, like, if you want to get in depth and all that, then we need to do a different. We need to figure out a different.
Right.
Nick,
let's bring the smoke. Let's bring the
if
smoke.
we had the time to do it, we would do it.
I know.
Okay, we'd get into this whole deep conversation.
I know.
We
This is what it is. So, John,
I'm going for 2, John. I'm going for 2.
I'll take extra point. That's a good question, John. I'm not gonna lie. That's a really good question.
That is a really good question.
It was a great question. And you see what you did, John? You see what you did? You see what you did?
You said
I appreciate it.
Yes. John, so thankful that you can come on the show. Definitely cannot wait till we're able to get you back on the show again.
Thank you. Yes, thank you, John.
Questions. Keep coming with it. Ladies and gentlemen, we will be seeing John soon because John he's a sports guy. Football, baseball, basketball. He has it all. He knows it all. So, we'll definitely be in conversation with you, my friend. Thank you for joining us.
Gotta hook up with you, John. Gotta hook up with you, brother.
John.
Yeah, you too, man.
All right, man.
Very much. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. So, hey, ladies and gentlemen, man, it's been another amazing show. Definitely have to still shout out 2 weeks away, April 29th, we will be live in Chicago for the Let's Talk Football, the Roundtable live draft event. And also next week, Nicholas Rosario will be bringing us his second official and final 2021 mock draft with trades, Nick, or
I'm going to look into that because I think I want to see if I can predict the trades. Right, I'm gonna do just a draft, and I'm going to see what I come up with trade wise.
This is 1 through 32.
Yes, I'm doing the whole first round. I'll do it, and whatever we get to, depending on how it goes. But I'll do 1 through 32. I'll do the first round.
And barring any major news, I think we'll just strictly go with diversity with Delilah in the draft because there's going to be plenty of conversation.
We'll have time, yeah, for sure.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, because there'll be plenty of conversation to go with each of the picks and whatnot.
Okay, fair enough. Whatever you guys want to do, I'm flexible.
So,
I think it'll go faster that way if you just go, and then we're like, oh.
We go and look into it. So, hey, guys, like I said, yes, definitely tune in next week. I know you will be tuned in next week, and do not worry. I'm going to sit here and I'm going to get a little group with you, Nick, and Nate, and let y'all just have at it. Let y'all just go back and forth.
You gotta bring
That's a great idea. That's a great idea. Yes,
and let y'all just go at it. Ravens and Washington.
You just listen. You name the time, place, and I will show.
Right.
All the smoke.
You know why?
I don't run away. I don't run away.
Let's go. So, definitely look forward to that. Thank you so much to the people that have been watching. Cameron, Ab, Anthony, Handy, Catherine.
Thank you guys.
You already got the reply right there.
Let's go. Let's go. I'm ready. Let's go.
Let's go. So look forward to that, ladies and gentlemen, because in the coming weeks, we will be bringing you the smoke.
Yeah.
We will be bringing you a smoke. Okay. And trust me, I'll try to do a better job containing it than I did today. Today it was rough.
Today it was rough.
So
it was on Nick's fault.
Yeah, I'm Sean Spencer. Over to my right, Mr. I Want the Smoke.
Nick Rosario, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Yeah. And the lovely
Lila Crespo. I was trying to be the mediator, and it didn't work out that well.
Sorry.
Let's go. And below me, Mr.
Nathan Snow. I always gotta listen. I have to defend myself, like Charles Barkley.
Let's get it. Let's get it. Yo, another great show. Ladies and gentlemen, tune in next week. Can't wait to see y'all. All right.
Have a
Peace,
great
guys.
week,
Stay safe, everybody.